All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to unpack a prediction so big it could literally reshape our economy. We're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar vision for AI, and it's being driven by two of the biggest names in tech.
Okay, let's just pause on this for a second. This is a quote from Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia. And look, when the guy who is literally building the engines for the entire AI revolution makes a prediction this big, you kind of have to listen. He's not just hinting at some growth here, he's talking about a seismic shift in how we value an entire industry.
So the big question is this just hype? A bold statement to get headlines? Or is he genuinely seeing a future that the rest of us are just beginning to get a peek at? To figure that out, we really need to get to know the two giants at the center of this story, the man making the call and the company he's betting it all on.
All right, so let's start with the visionary himself, Nvidia's co-founder and CEO, Jensen Huang.
This guy has played his cards perfectly. He has positioned Nvidia right at the absolute heart of all things AI. The best analogy I've heard is this. If AI is the new electricity, well, Nvidia is the one building all the power plants and the entire grid. He's funneled hundreds of billions of dollars into making sure their tech is the engine driving this whole transformation. And when you look at his core beliefs here, you realize something fascinating. For him, this isn't just about selling more chips. No, it's a mission. He really believes AI is this great equalizer, a democratizing force that can make unbelievably complex things accessible to pretty much anyone. It's why he's practically yelling from the rooftops that we should all be getting our hands on these tools, like right now.
Okay, so that's the visionary. Now, let's talk about the company he's making this huge bet on, OpenAI.
Man, their rise has been, it's been a rocket ship, right? As you can see, they started out back in 2015 with this really ambitious mission to make sure artificial general intelligence benefits everybody. And then bam, ChatGPT comes out and they just explode into the public consciousness. They went from this kind of niche research lab to a name everyone knows, practically overnight. Okay, look at this number. Just let it sink in for a second. $300 billion. That's what OpenAI is already worth as of 2025. That makes it one of the most valuable private companies on the planet. And yet, that number is nowhere near what Jensen Huang predicted.
And that brings us right back to the core of this whole thing, the gap, the canyon between that huge valuation today and Huang's mind-bending prediction. He's not talking about a doubling or tripling. He's talking about a leap into a completely different league. So how on earth do you even get there?
Well, the answer, or at least the game plan, lies right here in the partnership. This collaboration is the engine that's supposed to make that multi-trillion-dollar vision a reality.
So back in October 2023, these two giants officially linked up. And it's just a perfect match, a truly symbiotic relationship. Think about it. OpenAI has this insatiable hunger for computing power, just a ridiculous amount to build their next models. And who's the only one who can supply that kind of horsepower at scale? Yep, Nvidia. And when you look at the scale they're talking about, it is just mind-blowing. They're planning to build out AI data centers that pull a combined 10 gigawatts of power. To give you an idea of what that means, that's like firing up several nuclear power plants just to run AI. But this isn't just a case of OpenAI buying a bunch of chips. No. It goes way deeper. They're actually putting their engineering teams in the same rooms, syncing up their product roadmaps, and even creating a special task force to cut through all the red tape. This whole thing is designed for one thing: speed, blistering speed. Okay, so why should we care? Why does this matter to anyone outside of these two boardrooms? Well, because this partnership is supposed to be the rocket fuel for a massive economic boom, one bigger than anything we've ever seen before. And that leads to another one of these jaw-dropping predictions from Huang. He's basically saying that the wealth created by AI in the next few years is going to make the entire internet boom look like a warm-up act. Think about that. More millionaires in 5 years than the internet created in 20? And when you lay it out like this, you kind of start to see his point. The internet was all about connecting information, right? But AI is about augmenting intelligence itself. That's a whole different ballgame. The very foundation is shifting from networks to pure, raw, GPU-powered compute, and that could accelerate everything dramatically. But, and this is a huge but, with this kind of power, this kind of potential to completely reshape our world, comes some really, really big questions and a ton of responsibility.
And to his credit, Huang gets it. He knows that for every person who's excited about AI, there's someone else who's, well, deeply worried. And frankly, they should be. The potential for things to go wrong is just as big as the potential for them to go right.
So dealing with these huge challenges can't be an afterthought. It has to be central to the whole project. And, both companies talk a big game about responsible development. They know they have to get ahead of things like misinformation, bias in their systems, the very real impact on jobs, and making sure these tools are safe enough for things like medicine and transportation.
So, in the end, the real trillion-dollar question isn't just about a stock price or a valuation. It's about what this whole revolution will actually mean for us, for society. What's the benefit? And just as importantly, what's the cost? This partnership is hitting the accelerator, pushing us toward a future that is totally unwritten. And what that future looks like? Well, that's the biggest question of all.